There's a whole bunch of things to be said about incrementing prices. How you doing, guys? Professor EDC with another Blade Chats video. Today, I'd like to discuss the end of the golden era for knives. That's right. The end of the golden era. Why? Just because a company raised its prices? Yes and no. Because there's a whole bunch of things involved and things that I'd like to share and think about together as a community. Because it's not just a matter of raising prices, it's a domino effect, it's a snowball effect. And there's responsibility on behalf of the company. You know, we have to talk about greed. We have to talk about profit, how much profit is enough, and what is just and what isn't just. But this is not just about Chris Reeve. We got to talk about custom knives as well. We got to talk about other knives. We got to talk about new knife makers who give their what is called napkin designers, who are being employed by foreign OEMs, and this napkin designers are taking the place of people who have been there for a longer time. And does that affect these companies, these older companies? Of course it does. Of course it does. And so with this video, what I'd like to do is just propose ideas and that we think together as a company, that we think together as a community. And we got to see where responsibility lies. And responsibility lies in many facets of all of this. Responsibility lies within ourselves as consumers, because when we talk about the market, we are talking about nothing else but then ourselves. We're talking about the consumers, and we're talking about consumerism, and that's us and our behavior, the way that we buy. And then we also have to talk about the market, the maker. And of course, we are going to touch upon delicate matters, like I said, greed or profit. And so I go around, I check out OEMs, I check out production companies, I check out custom knife makers, I check out their prices, their work. I deliver to myself what it's worth, what isn't worth, and when you raise the prices on something, you better be damn sure that you're giving what you're asking for, that you're giving the quality in the construction. Now, this has been done in the past, and it's still a great knife, and I know Mr. Fisk would argue otherwise, and I do respect his point of view, and chatting with him and learning from his point of view. If you don't know Mr. Fix, go follow him on Instagram, and he'll have you, he'll share with you his vision of the 21 versus the 31, and the change between Chris Reeve and Tim Reeve. So sometimes he may be harsh, but we're not here to talk about Mr. Fix. Anyways, I think I pronounced that wrongly. Anyway, we're here to talk about a deeper, a more important thing, and like the end of the golden age of knives. Is that possible? Yes, it is, at least in my point of view. Why? Because we are risking good companies for the secondary market. The effect the secondary market has on the market, on knife makers and OEMs. It helps them to raise their prices. Also, consumerism and uncontrolled consumerism allows makers, OEMs, to raise their prices. Now, this is something that, oh my God, it was, I just got confused. It was John Adams, the father of modern economics, that said, I think it was, that for capitalism to work adequately, good taste was necessary. And what I translate to good taste is being an informed and knowledgeable consumer. That's it. After going, thinking about it and seeing, studying, reading a few things, I got to that. I'm no economist, nor do I pretend to be, but that's just trying to arrive to my own conclusions and ideas, and taking different points of view into consideration. And I think that's exactly what we must do, to take different points of view into consideration before we deliver a statement or a response, an answer. Now I'm all for responding, but not reacting to. Yeah, of course, we're human. We all commit mistakes, and of course that happens. But responding is something very different than reacting to something. This is a topic that I believe we have to respond to adequately. And a good friend of mine, Alchemy One, Clint, in our personal chats, has mentioned to me, we need to learn, we need to vote with our dollars. As he, I quote, as he put it. And I totally agree with that. Whenever we don't agree, whenever we disagree with something that we see, we gotta do something about it as a community. This will not work if it's just an individual or two or three. We gotta come together as a community to make it work. Another thing that we have to take into consideration, competition is always gonna be there. So, and I'm not against Chinese made knives. I'm against some, for example, this clone that was given to me for a research I did on clones, Chinese clones. And as you can see, this can be fairly easily sold as a original Benchmade. And that's where I don't agree with these type of companies. That they are lying and they are stealing property, intellectual property. Now I know some people don't agree with intellectual property. I don't care if they agree or not. Intellectual property is a law, an international law at that. And so there's nothing to be discussed about that. But I don't agree with this type of knife making from China. But there's another type of knife making from China, and that would be for example, Riyadh, working with a knife designer like Brian Nadeau and coming up with this wonderful, wonderful pieces and of quality, of an okay pricing, and but that in the second market, in the secondary market, they just blow up in flames and just double, triple their prices. Like the CKF Evo 2, like the Spyderco Slish Bowie. It's just ridiculous, at least in my perception. But the point is, we're going to have competition, good competition that's going to keep us in our toes, on our toes. We have CKF that's going to keep us on our toes, or knife makers, and with exceptional quality, design, collaborations. And that's healthy, this type of competition. This type of competition is illegal in most places by law. So, and there I'm gonna step on some toes. If we can't afford an original, then don't buy it. Go buy something that is legal, something that is original. Don't buy a clone. Or at least buy those that, don't have the exact same logo, or, I just don't agree with that market. But anyways, that's another topic for another day. But just have to mention that. And then again, we go to some companies that have been able to keep their prices throughout time and maintain those prices. And inflation, economy, and they make some arrangements. They adequately raise their prices, at least from what I've seen. And we can, talking about GEC, we can also talk about Victorinox, Swiss Army, and so many other companies. We can talk about Opinel, we can talk about Cold Steel. Yeah, but they're not made in USA. Okay, well then we have to open up the dialogue and see what's going on, because this is a good knife, a good design, and I have to try the 21 to compare. Yeah, I know, Mr. Fisk, I know, but why do they not have enough people for production to satisfy the demand? Why? Why is the quality control not at its best? This is something I've seen from other companies. Boker, for example. This one's okay. But there's a video coming about Boker and their quality control. And there's still, and the prices that Boker has are, their increments are, they don't correspond to the quality that they're putting out. So, gotta be careful with, you may increase your prices because of inflation, but also you gotta maintain that quality control, that quality on customer service, and that guarantee that the company has offered and is still offering. It's not only a matter about China. It's more of an internal situation. Secondary market. Obsessive consumerism. Napkin designers. Why? Why napkin designers, Professor? I mentioned this. I don't know if the video has come out yet, but I mentioned this. And when I mentioned this, I mentioned there are people like Chris Reeve, certain designers that collaborate, that have been in the game for longer. There are companies that are trying to put out a good product at a good price. Designers with much more experience, engineered designs. Let me see if I have anything else over here. Yeah, at a pretty decent price. Canonian design, fantastic knife. And what you see here is experience, and we're paying in part for that experience, which is something that we are not seeing in napkin designers. And now, I have nothing against these napkin designers per se. There are good models out there that have to be time tested. But what I can say about that is that they don't have the experience as these companies have. Now again, we gotta balance each issue. How much profit is enough? Some might take their greed up to a different level. Some might just stay in that classic way or renew some of their models and materials, but with a good knife, with their experience that they've had for all these years. And we are forgetting about that experience. Let's not forget about that. Experience is knowledge. Knowledge that many of these OEMs are looking, are thirsty, are hungry for designs. And so, yeah, you sit down at a Denny's, you sit down in a In-N-Out, whatever you prefer, and draw up a knife, and that's it. Take it to an OEM. Yeah, I know it's a bit more complicated than that, but I've seen the same on other continents. I've seen the same happen in Spain, for example, and putting out a company just like that. And though things may vary, and some may look for the experience in certain knife makers and those collaborations, which is that's fantastic. Others just really care about putting out a product to make money, and that's okay. But at the same time, that is affecting the market, that is affecting the community, that is affecting older knife makers, that is affecting older knife companies. So again, the problem is not just China or Russia or France. The problem lies somewhere else in all of this that I've mentioned and even more things. But I think that this is something that we should start talking about or continue to talk about. I've seen a few flares here and there, and this is something that will take us in one direction or the other. Might be the end of the golden era of knives, or the beginning of the end of the declination, or who knows. But I don't see that things are getting better in many aspects. So let me know what you guys think, and I'm always open for dialogue. We may differ, as I always say, we may differ, we have different opinions, but let's do this in a civil, educated way. Otherwise, I'm just gonna erase the comment and the follower. As long as we can do this in a formal, in a nice, educated way, then I'm all for it. Hope you guys enjoy it, and let's keep the conversations going. Professor EDC out.